Hi, hello, friends. How are you? Happy Mother's Day to all of you that are observing and celebrating. A little message here. If you are someone who has had life inside you and it didn't work out, if you are someone who is still on the fertility journey and you've always dreamed of being a mom and it just hasn't worked out yet, just a little friendly reminder: you're still a mom. Anyway, in honor of Mother's Day, I have put together this Mother's Day mega bundle reading for you. So we're coming at it at all angles, okay? We're going to be looking at the mother wound, okay, the shadow. We're also going to be looking at messages from your ancestral maternal line. We are going to look at how you can mother yourself through this season and the woman that you're becoming, okay? So this is going to be a 24 card spread. It's going to be a doozy. This is available for purchase on the website if you would like one of your own. 24-hour turnaround as ever. And yeah, I'm going to pull some cards, a lot of cards, and let's get started. Let's go. All right. Get cozy. That's why I have the background fancy. Okay. This is going to be a long reading, so stick with me through it. Okay. This reading is heavy, and it's kind of wild because in the overall energy, we have the Six of Wands and the Sun. That's victory and the happiest card in the deck. So, again, the wild thing here is this reading is heavy, but the outcome is not. So, the overall energy, we have victory, we have stability, we have visibility, we have healing, warmth, and finally being able to stand in the light without feeling like you have to apologize for surviving. I said what I said, okay? The Six of Wands and the Sun together. This says that this is not just about pain, okay? This is about the moment where you realize, wait, I made it through that and I'm not small anymore. Okay. This is the part of the story where the woman who used to beg for validation starts becoming the woman who is seen, respected, celebrated, and impossible to ignore. But first, we have to walk through the emotional attic. And, babe, there are boxes. Okay. So, part one of this reading, we have the mother wound message. For that, we have the Two of Swords, we have the Four of Swords, we have Justice, the Ten of Swords. In this deck, it's the everything is fine. We also have the Tower reversed and the Six of Cups reversed. So, this first section, this Mother Wound Shadow Work section, is very loud. Okay. Two of Swords tells me that there has been some sort of a long-standing emotional stalemate around the mother wound for you. Something that may have been avoided, minimalized, intellectualized, or tucked away because fully looking at it felt way too painful. This is the kind of wound where part of you knew the truth, but another part of you didn't want to make the truth official because once you admit it, you can't unknow it, right? And that simple fact is what keeps a lot of us stuck in karmic cycles. Now, the Four of Swords here, this shows emotional shutdown, silence, recovery, and distance. When I was a kid, when I felt unsafe or like I wasn't not even the center of attention, but just like unwanted, I would leave. Okay. And that was kind of like my way of taking back my sense of control was I would like exit. So this could point to periods where you had to emotionally retreat because engaging didn't feel safe. You may have learned to go quiet, to self-soothe, disappear into your room like I did, to become fine or process things alone because asking for comfort didn't always result in actual comfort. And then we have the Justice card, okay? Which excuse me. Trying to do this with no cuts or edits. So then we have Justice, which is fascinating because this is where the reading says the truth matters. Okay. This is not about demonizing anyone. It is not about rewriting your whole history into one big villain origin story, but it is about being honest. And Justice says that there is a need to name what happened accurately. Okay. No more watering it down. No more saying, oh, it wasn't that bad. As I say that, it's 11:11 on the phone. Okay. When no more saying it wasn't that bad when your nervous system has been carrying the receipt since childhood. And then we got the Ten of Swords. right? Ten of Swords is betrayal, it's exhaustion, it's emotional finality, it's the end of a painful cycle, and the realization that something did, in fact, hurt you more than you allowed yourself to admit. Now, with the tower reversed here, there's a feeling that this collapse may have been delayed or internalized, and the tower didn't always happen dramatically on the outside. For a lot of us, it happened inside of us. Okay. So you may have been, eldest daughter, as I'm talking to you may have been the one holding everything together while quietly falling apart. And with the Six of Cups reversed, this is absolutely tied to childhood memory, the past, family patterns. We could even be looking at like past life karmic contracts, right? And the way nostalgia can get complicated when the good memories and the painful truths are kind of living in the same room, so to speak. So this says that the wound is not that there was no love, okay? The wound is that love may have come tangled with confusion, with silence and guilt and emotional inconsistency, or the expectation that you should just get over things, right? And no, absolutely not. The nervous system does not accept, but she did her best as a complete healing plan. Okay. So that's where we are with the shadow. Part two, we're getting into messages from the maternal line. This is your ancestral line. Okay. So for that, we have the Three of Wands, we have the Page of Swords, we have Six of Pentacles, we have the Devil, Two of Pentacles, and we have the Page of Wands. So this portion of the reading, this feels like the maternal line is saying, we survived, but we also normalized survival so hard that we forgot joy was an option. This very much tracks within my immigrant family's, maternal line. Like, yeah. So Latinas, I might be talking to you specifically on this one. The Three of Wands shows women in your line that are looking toward the future, waiting for better, wanting more, but not always having the resources, the support, or the permission to actually go get it. And there may be a pattern of women who dreamed bigger than their circumstances allowed. And the Page of Swords here tells me that there's a lot of observation energy here. Women who had to watch, calculate, listen carefully, monitor moods, and learn how to read the room. This can point to a hypervigilance being passed down like a family recipe that nobody asked for. Okay. You're going to find that with a lot where there was like emotional, physical, mental, sexual abuse, that sort of thing from the men. Okay. So, but then we get Six of Pentacles, which is bringing in this theme of giving, receiving, imbalance, obligation, and transactional support. So there may be a pattern in the maternal line where love and help came with strings attached, or where women were expected to give endlessly while receiving crumbs and calling it gratitude. And then high, right? We have the devil. The devil walked in wearing perfume and family trauma. The devil shows attached, sorry, my nose is itching, psychic things. The devil shows attachment, control, guilt, shame, dependency, addiction patterns, toxic cycles, past life shenanigans, obligations. The devil is also like the shadow side of the lovers, which is the twin flame card. And it also shows the invisible chains people pretend are just family. So this could indicate that the maternal line carried patterns around control, emotional manipulation, financial dependence is a big one. This could also show like guilt based caregiving or staying stuck in situations where leaving felt impossible. The Two of Pentacles says the women that were before you were juggling too much money, kids, relationships, survival, emotional labor, other people's instability. There's a feeling of constantly adapting, constantly managing, constantly making everything work. But then we get the Page of Wands. And this is important because the Page of Wands is the spark. Okay. the younger fire. This is the part of the maternal line that never fully died. This is creativity, rebellion, curiosity, sensuality, and humor and magic, and the desire to live rather than simply endure, right? So, your maternal line message is this: we carried too much, we gave too much. We stayed too long in things that drained us, but you're not here to repeat our exhaustion. You're here to reclaim the fire, not the guilt, not the silence, not the emotional debt. So now we're going to move on to part three. This is how to mother yourself through this season. Okay. So we have the Ace of Cups, we have the Five of Swords, we have the Nine of Swords, we also have the Three of Cups to the Four of Cups. So we have progression and the Eight of Pentacles. So this section is very clear, okay? Your self-mothering right now is not about becoming softer in a performative way. It's about becoming safer. So the Ace of Cups says that your heart here is trying to reopen. There's a new emotional beginning available, but it starts with you giving yourself the love, the patience, the tenderness, and the emotional permission that you may have spent years waiting for someone else to provide. Pero immediately after that, we get the Five of Swords and the Nine of Swords. So there is still like mental warfare around this, okay? The Five of Swords can show conflict, old arguments, harsh words, resentment, and the part of you that is still replaying what was said, what wasn't said, what should have happened, and like why it still bothers you. The Nine of Swords is anxiety, it's grief, it's intrusive thoughts, it's shame spirals, and nighttime emotional goblin behavior. So this tells me that part of you may still feel like healing means you need to win the argument in your head. Okay, but babe, sometimes the win is not getting them to understand. Sometimes the win is finally not abandoning yourself just because they never apologized. I'll say it again. Sometimes the win is finally not abandoning yourself just because they never apologized. Now, the Three of Cups comes in as medicine. You are not meant to heal this alone, okay? Sisterhood, friendship, chosen family, safe community, shared laughter, being witnessed by people who don't make you feel dramatic for having feelings. That's a big one, okay? Being witnessed by people who don't make you feel dramatic for having feelings. That is part of the medicine here. Then we get the Four of Cups, okay? And we clocked it. This is not a clean progression with the cups. This is not a neat ace to three to four and everything gets better storyline. It's more like your heart opens, you remember that you need people, and then another part of you pulls back again because safety, right? Four of Cups says you're emotionally tired. You may reject support because sometimes it doesn't look how you expected. Let's be real, okay? Or you may have gotten so used to disappointment that when something kind shows up, your first instinct is suspicion and to reject it. And the Eight of Pentacles is the answer. Self mothering is a practice, not a one time bath, not a single journal entry, not one I forgive everyone affirmation while your eye is twitching, right? This is a daily devotion to yourself, reparenting yourself through repetition, choosing different responses, building self trust brick by brick. Okay. This is feeding yourself. This is resting. This is keeping promises to yourself, a big one. Letting people earn access instead of handing them the keys because they share your DNA or some history with you. Your self mothering message here is you are learning to become consistent with yourself in the places where others were inconsistent with you. Let me say that again. You are learning to become consistent with yourself in the places where others were inconsistent with you. That is the work here. Okay. So, part four, the woman you're becoming. If you're still here, drop some emojis down in the comments, okay? Because I greatly appreciate when you guys actually hang around. So, part four, the woman you're becoming. We have Temperance, Ten of Swords, the Fool, Seven of Cups reversed. We have the Nine of Wands, and we have the horrible Five of Pentacles back here. Okay, first of all, The Ten of Swords came out twice. So the cycle is not whispering, okay? It is standing in the driveway with the bullhorn. Double Ten of Swords says, enough, enough. There is a painful pattern that has run its full course. You cannot negotiate with this old version of survival anymore. You cannot keep letting the past stab you every time it wants attention. I'll say it again. You cannot keep letting the past stab you every time it wants attention. Something is ending because it has to. But let's also look at what surrounds that ending, okay? We have Temperance coming in first. If I can get the card. Temperance. Temperance is Sagittarius energy. It's integration, it's healing, it's balance, it's alchemy, emotional regulation, spiritual maturity. And Temperance says you're not becoming someone cold. You are becoming someone integrated. Important distinction there. Someone who can hold complexity without drowning in it. And then after the Ten of Swords, we have the Fool. This is gorgeous. Okay, Aquarius energy with the Fool here. This is the woman you're becoming, someone who's willing to begin again without dragging the entire ancestral suitcase behind her. The Fool says that there is a new life path opening, but it requires trust, not blind trust in everyone else, but trust in yourself. And then with the Seven of Cups in the reverse, okay, this says that the fog is clearing, illusions are breaking, confusion is lifting. You are starting to see what is real, what is fantasy, what is guilt, what is obligation, what is your responsibility, and what absolutely is not your circus, what is not your monkey or your emotional support demon. Okay. Now, the Nine of Wands says that you're still guarded, and honestly, baby, that's fair. Okay. You've been through enough. That part of you is standing there with a clipboard, like, before anyone even comes near me, I need references, blood work, and a notarized apology. Okay. But the Five of Pentacles shows that there is still a deep abandonment wound here. This is the part of you that fears being left out, unsupported, unseen, or emotionally exiled. And it may be the part of you that still wonders, what if I become myself and lose people? The answer from the cards is you might lose access to old dynamics. You might lose approval from people who benefited from your self abandonment. You might lose the version of belonging that required you to be smaller, but you're not losing yourself. You're finally retrieving yourself. The woman that you're becoming is not bitter, she's discerning. She's not closed off, she's protected. She's not unloving. She's no longer available for love that requires self erasure. Let me say that again. She is you, and you are no longer available for love that requires self erasure. Now, for the advice here, we have Judgment and the Hierophant. Sorry, I got to dig out all my other cards here. So, Judgment and the Hierophant. The advice is so strong, I feel like it needs its own little throne, to be perfectly honest. Judgment says that it's time to answer the call. There is a higher version of you that is trying to rise from the old story. This is resurrection energy. This is the moment where you stop pretending that the old life still fits. Let that sit for a minute. This is the moment where you stop pretending that the old life still fits. So, Judgment is asking, where are you being called to forgive yourself? Where are you being called to tell the truth? Where are you being called to stop identifying with the wound? Where are you being called to rise? Okay. Judgment is all about the universe calling you up to a higher timeline. Now, the Hierophant here, Taurus energy, it's telling you to create a new structure. You need rituals, you need practices, you need standards, you need boundaries, you need spiritual discipline, emotional frameworks, a new belief system around family, motherhood, womanhood, duty, and belonging. This is not just feel better, this is build a new inner temple. Okay. So, this advice here is to stop letting old family programming be your religion. Make your healing the new doctrine. Okay. Now, what you don't see coming, y'all, is amazing, if I'm being honest. We have the Two of Wands, we have the Ten of Cups, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the High Priestess. Excuse me? Excuse me? All that grief and generational heaviness and what you don't see coming is actually gorgeous. The Two of Wands says that a new path is opening. There is a decision ahead, but it's not a desperate decision. It feels more like looking at your life and realizing, oh, I actually have options now. The Ten of Cups is emotional fulfillment. Chosen family, peace in the home, belonging, love, and the kind of happiness that doesn't require you to betray yourself to keep it. Okay. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles. Baby, that's money. That's money in the bank, babe. Okay. This could be money, stability, a home shift, a new opportunity, a grounded fresh start, or something real, real world that helps you feel safer and more supported. Money, like I said. And then we have the Emperor and the High Priestess. Sorry? This is really powerful. I like this combo much better than Emperor and Empress, if I'm being honest, okay? Because this is blending structure and intuition, masculine and feminine, protection and knowing, boundaries and magic. And the Emperor says you are gaining control over your life. The High Priestess is here to tell you that you are also trusting your inner knowing more deeply. Yes. Okay. This can also point to attracting or embodying healthier masculine energy, but not in a please someone save me way. More like the part of you that needed protection is finally getting it, whether it's from yourself, your spiritual team, your future partner, your business, your boundaries, or all of the above. What you don't see coming, babe, is a more stable life. It's a safer home within yourself. It's a new foundation, a stronger intuition, and emotional fulfillment that doesn't come with a hidden cost. That's the gag. The wound was not the ending, it was the excavation site. Okay. Thank you so much for sticking with me if you're still here. So, to wrap things up, this Mother's Day reading is for the ones who are done pretending that complicated love did not leave complicated fingerprints. The cards are saying, yes, there was pain. Yes, there was silence. Yes, there were patterns that should have ended before they reached you, but they did reach you. And now they end with you. Not because you carry everything perfectly. I'm sure you do a bang up job, but not perfect because none of us are. But because you're willing to look at it honestly, grieve what happened, stop romanticizing what hurt, and build a life where love no longer requires self abandonment as the cover charge. Okay. You are not becoming the woman who gets over it. You are becoming the woman who turns the wound into wisdom, the silence into discernment, the survival into softness, and the old family curse into a closed account. And with Six of Wands and the Sun as the overall energy, you're not just healing privately, you're going to be seen winning, not in a petty way either. This is in a sacred, undeniable, I turned the whole bloodline around and still look good doing it kind of way. Okay. So I want to give you some confirmation signs to watch out for if you've been with me through this whole video. I want you to look for like sunlight breaking through the clouds. I want you to look for yellow flowers, children laughing, birds near windows or porches. I want you to look out for the numbers 1010, 111, 606, or 555. Dreams about old homes, kitchens, mothers, grandmothers, or childhood rooms. You could also have like, oh, my throat just wanted to like seize up there. A random memory surfacing and suddenly making sense. Your mantra for today, forever, however long you want. Something like, I do not have to carry what I came here to heal. I can honor where I came from without repeating what hurt me. I am safe to become the woman my younger self needed. Happy Mother's Day.